If you've been searching, can myEcon help if your credit cards are maxed out? myEcon, credit card debt. Can myEcon help with maxed out credit cards? How to recover from maxed out credit cards, or how to fix your credit when your cards are maxed out? This video is going to be for you because maxed out credit cards are something that hit differently, right? It's not just some abstract money problem. It's pressure, it's embarrassment. Just checking your balances and feeling your stomach drop, right? This is knowing your cards are tapped out, your utilization is through the roof, your credit is taking a hit, and every month feels like you're throwing money at a fire that just keeps building. And that's real. A lot of people don't look into something like myEcon because life is smooth and everything is under control. They start looking when things are already tight, right? When the cards are already full, when the interest is ugly, when the minimum payments are draining them, when they feel like they're working hard, but somehow moving backwards. That is where this question comes from. So let me get straight to it. Can myEcon help if your credit cards are maxed out? Yes, right? Not because it's a magic button, not because it's some overnight debt eraser, not because one decision is suddenly going to undo every bad money move, every emergency, every habit problem, or every month of financial pressure that somebody got into, right? It can help because people with maxed out credit cards usually don't just have a credit card problem. They usually have a cash flow problem, a financial behavior problem, right? A pressure problem, a strategy problem. That's the part that people need to hear, because if somebody only looks at the cards themselves and never looks at the bigger pattern around them, then they're going to stay stuck, right? Now, let me say this clearly. Having maxed out credit cards does not automatically mean somebody is reckless. It doesn't mean somebody is stupid or hopeless. Life happens. People go through emergencies. People get behind. People use credit to survive. People make panicked decisions. They never get taught how utilization works. People slowly drift into a bad spot 1 month at a time until suddenly they wake up and realize the cards are full and the pressure is everywhere. That happens. So this isn't about looking down on anybody. This is about being honest about what maxed out cards actually do to people. Because maxed out cards don't just hurt your score. They hurt your breathing room. They hurt your confidence, your options. They make you feel like every swipe from the past is now reaching into your future and choking off your ability to move. That's how it feels for a lot of people. It's how it felt for me when I was there, right? And when somebody lives under that kind of pressure long enough, they stop thinking strategically, right? They just start reacting. They start looking for relief instead of recovery. And that's a big difference because relief is emotional. Recovery is structural. And if somebody confuses the two, they're going to stay trapped, right? That is why this question matters, because what people are really asking is not just, can this help my maxed out credit cards? What they're really asking is, can this help me stop spiraling? Can this help me understand what is happening and start moving in a better financial direction before it gets even worse? That's the real issue. And that is where myEcon can make a lot of sense for the right person, right? The first way that myEcon can help if your credit cards are maxed out is through financial awareness. A lot of people know that they're in trouble, but they don't fully understand the mechanics of why things feel so bad, right? They know their balances are high. They know the payments every month are draining them. They know their score is hurting, but they don't fully understand how their money flow, their habits, their utilization, their reactions, and their ongoing decisions are all stacking on top of each other. And that matters because confused people stay emotional. Clear people start getting strategic. And when somebody is maxed out, they need more than generic advice. They need to understand what is squeezing them. They need to understand what pressure they created, what pressure life created, and what patterns are now making the problem heavier every single month. Because if they don't understand the pattern, they can't break it, right? Another way that myEcon can help is through cash flow thinking. This is huge. A lot of people with maxed out cards feel like their only problem is debt. But a lot of the time, the deeper problem is cash flow. Money comes in and it disappears. Bills hit, minimums hit, life hits, unexpected stuff hits. And before they know it, they're back using the cards because they still don't have breathing room, right? And that cycle is brutal because maxed out cards are often not just the result of one bad choice. They're the result of repeated months of not enough room, not enough clarity, not enough strategy, and not enough control, right? So if a system helps somebody think better about cash flow, It matters. Because if somebody never improves the way money moves through their life, then even if they temporarily lower the pressure, the same pattern is going to come back. That's why people feel cursed. They fix one thing and another thing breaks. They make progress and then they slide backwards. And a lot of times it's because the structure never changed, right? And a third way that myEcon can help if your credit cards are maxed out is through helping people stop making panic decisions. Maxed out cards make people panic. And panic is expensive. When people panic, they do desperate things. They ignore things they should face. They believe promises they should question. They chase emotional relief instead of intelligent movement. And they make random financial decisions because they're exhausted and scared. That happens constantly. So when something helps a person slow down, understand more, and think with more structure, that's valuable, right? Because people under credit card pressure need more than just urgency. They need better decisions. That's the difference between somebody who keeps feeling the chaos and somebody who starts climbing out of it. Now, let me ask you something right here. And I want you to answer it in the comments because I think this is going to hit a nerve for a lot of people. All right. What has been the worst part of maxed out credit cards for you? The stress, the interest, the damage to your credit, or the feeling of being stuck? Drop that in the comments. Seriously, because I think a lot of people watching this have felt all four. And sometimes just saying it out loud makes the problem feel less isolated, right? The fourth way that myEcon can help is through financial behavior correction. And this is where some people get uncomfortable because this matters, right? Because maxed out cards are not always just an income issue. Sometimes it's a behavior issue. Impulse spending, no plan, no tracking, no structure, using credit emotionally, avoiding balances, right? Pretending next month will somehow be different without changing anything. That stuff matters. Now, again, not every person with maxed out cards got there because they were careless. Some people got hit by life hard. But even then, if the behaviors around money don't improve, recovery is just going to get harder. And that's just reality. So if somebody is serious about getting out of that pressure, they can't just focus on card balances. They also have to look at the habits that keep feeding the pressure. That is where real progress will begin because a person can lower one balance. But if the mindset and behavior stays broken, the pattern just rebuilds itself, right? Another way that myEcon can help if your cards are maxed out is through restoring belief that progress is possible. This is the emotional side that people don't talk about enough. A lot of people with maxed out cards quietly feel defeated. They smile, they function, they go to work, they talk normal, but inside they feel cooked, right? They feel ashamed. They feel behind. They feel stupid. They feel like they should have known better. They feel like they can't breathe financially. Like every month they start in a hole, right? That kind of pressure wears people down. And when people get worn down long enough, they stop believing they can actually fix anything. And that's dangerous because once belief collapses, action usually collapses with it. And people start drifting. They start avoiding. They start surviving emotionally instead of rebuilding intentionally. That's why this matters because sometimes one of the biggest wins is not instant financial transformation. Sometimes it's just helping somebody go from hopeless and avoidant to aware and active. That is a huge shift because movement changes identity. The person who faces the numbers is different from the person who hides from them. The person who starts learning is different from the person who just panics. And the person who starts asking better questions is different from the person who stays trapped in shame. That shift matters, right? So let me talk about expectations because this is where people ruin their own progress. If your cards are maxed out, if your credit cards are maxed out and you're looking at myEcon, you need to think like an adult, all right? It's not about fantasy. This is not about somebody waving a wand and making the balances just disappear, right? This is not about emotional hype. It's about a better question. Can this help me understand the real problem? Improve my financial habits? Think better about cash flow? Stop making panic decisions and start moving towards a stronger credit and money position over time? That's the right question. And for the right person, yes. But if somebody wants instant relief without real change, they're probably going to stay disappointed no matter what they touch, because the real work starts when the person decides they're done just reacting. That is where things change, right? Now, who is myEcon most likely to help when maxed out credit cards are involved? The person who is tired of the pressure, the person who knows this is hurting their credit and their peace of mind, the person who is ready to get honest, the person that wants more structure, right? The person who's willing to learn, the person who understands that the cards are not the whole problem. They're part of a bigger financial pattern. That person can benefit majorly, life-changingly, honestly. So who is it probably not going to help much? The person who wants a fantasy, the person who refuses to look at their own habits, the person who wants rescue without responsibility, the person who plans to keep making the same emotional money decisions and somehow expect a different outcome anyway, right? That person's going to struggle no matter what, because no system can fully overcome somebody's refusal to participate in their own improvement. That needs to be said clearly, right? There is no system out there that will fully overcome somebody's refusal to participate in their own improvement. So let me answer the question directly, like I always do, right? Can myEcon help if your credit cards are maxed out? Yes. If what you need is better financial awareness, better cash flow thinking, stronger habits, less panic-based decision-making, and a process that helps you stop drifting and start rebuilding. No. If what you want is a magic rescue while refusing to change and thinking behaviors that keep the pressure alive can continue under any circumstance, right? That's the real answer. And honestly, this is why more people with maxed out cards need to stop asking only, how do I make this pressure go away right now? And start asking, how do I stop being the kind of person who keeps ending up back in this position? That is the harder question, but it's also the smarter one, right? Because maxed out cards are not just a debt issue. They're a pressure issue, a behavior issue, a confidence issue, a structure issue. And if somebody is finally ready to start dealing with the whole pattern instead of just panic at the system, that is where real improvement starts. So if your credit cards are maxed out and you are wondering whether myEcon can help, here's the truth. It can help if you're willing to get honest and learn and improve your habits. Start moving with more structure instead of pure emotion. That is where the value is. So if this video helped you, hit that subscribe button for me, because I'm building this playlist in a way that will break myEcon down in a real world, no BS way. And again, answer this in the comments. What has been the worst part of maxed out credit cards for you? The stress, the interest, the credit damage, or the feeling of being stuck? That's a conversation I'd like to have. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.